Hey friends, let's have a ball. For today's class, you are gonna need a ball. So there's really nothing special about this ball. It is a little bit squishy, a little bit deflated. It's not totally tight, but if you have a fully inflated ball, that's fine too. It doesn't matter necessarily how big or how small it is, but it is kind of a good idea to make sure that it is not bigger than your hips. Okay, so you don't want a beach ball. That might be a little crazy. So let's take the ball and come down to the ground. Okay, lie down on your back and then lift your legs up in the air. So when you lift your legs up in the air, go ahead and put your feet together and notice, does one of your legs appear longer than the other? Does one foot seem to stick up a little bit higher than the other foot? And just remember which one that is. Take your feet back apart and put your ball in between your knees, okay? And so now, whichever foot was higher up towards the ceiling, that's what leg we're gonna start with. So by keeping a squeeze on the ball, you're gonna try to lift your hip up away from the ground. So, excuse me, my right foot was the higher foot. So I'm gonna start with my right hip. So I'm gonna take a breath in, and as I exhale, I'm gonna push up through my right foot and try to pick my right hip up off the ground, okay? Maybe you can slide a hand under part of the back of your right hip, okay? And then inhale, put your right hip back down. Exhale, reach up through that foot, reach up through that hip, inhale, put it down. So we're still on the same side, and we're gonna keep going with the breath. Inhaling down, exhaling up. Tiny movement, tiny atomic movement. Hopefully you can feel some abdominal, some pelvic floor, some back muscles firing up to help you accomplish this. For 3, 2, and 1. Great. Now, again, recommit to the squeeze of the ball, and then the foot that was not pointing up as high, the one that was lower down, that's the side that we're gonna do now. So for me, that was my left side. So I'm gonna keep squeezing the ball. I'm gonna take a breath in, and then as I exhale, I'm lifting the left foot towards the ceiling by picking my left hip up off the ground. I'm gonna inhale, relax. This side's a little bit harder. Inhale down, exhale to pick the hip up away from the ground. We're gonna do a few extra on this side. For 3, 2, and 1. Okay, take the ball out from between your legs, put your feet back together, and notice if your feet kind of match a little bit better. Just gathering information. It's okay if they don't. And then go ahead and put your feet back down on the ground. Okay, take your ball in your hands, and we're gonna squeeze the ball with the hands. And then as you're squeezing the ball with the hands, rotate your elbow creases to face up towards the ceiling. So you're gonna take an inhale and take the ball overhead, only as far as you can go while keeping your elbow creases in that same position. So I can let my elbow creases move, and I can get the ball like all the way to the ground behind me. But if I keep my elbow creases pointing up, and I keep squeezing the ball, I can only go to about here. Another way that I could get the ball all the way to the ground is by lifting my spine and my rib cage away from the mat, but I don't want to do that. I want to focus right on the shoulders and the arms for this. So you're gonna exhale the arms down, inhale to take the arms overhead. Now let's add to this just a bit. So you're gonna have some choices. One choice is to just keep the feet on the ground and hold the ball in between the legs that way. Another choice is to lift the legs up into this hook-lie position. And yet another choice is to lift the legs straight up in the air. So maybe take a moment and play around with which one of those positions feels the best for your body today. And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna take a breath in as you exhale, and I'm gonna show with all 3 leg positions. As you exhale, you're gonna reach for that ball. So I'm curling my shoulders and my head away from the ground. I'm gonna grab the ball. I'm gonna orient so that my elbow creases point up, and then I'm gonna rest my head down and lengthen my arms overhead. And then again, exhale, put the ball in between the legs again and relax. Inhale. So I'm gonna show you here. Inhale, exhale, reach and get the ball. And then as you inhale, you can take your arms back overhead with your head down. Exhale, curl up, put the ball back. Inhale, relax. Exhale, reach up for the ball, orient your arms. Inhale, take the arms back overhead. Exhale, curl up, put the ball back. Inhale, relax. So exhaling to grab the ball. Anytime you're coming down, you're inhaling. So that includes when you're taking the ball overhead. Anytime you're coming up, you're exhaling. And so again, you can do this in whichever leg position you want. You can even cycle through, just like me. 3 more. Remember to keep the elbow creases pointing up as you take the arms overhead. And relax. Great job. Rub your belly a little, give it some love. Say thank you, belly, for helping me out. Okay, now from here, go ahead and hug your ball in between your thighs and your tummy, and we're gonna rock up. So we brought the ball with us. Okay, now let's come into all fours. So you're gonna wedge the ball in between your calf and your hamstring on your right leg. Okay, so you're gonna have to pull your heel towards your sit bone to hold the ball in place. So this is where a bigger ball really comes in handy. If you have a smaller ball and you want to switch because it feels too hard, please feel free to do that. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, take your leg up away from the ground. As you inhale, bring your knee back down. Exhale to lift, inhale, back down. Now let's add a little challenge here. So take your leg up in the air, and now keep squeezing the ball, but now you're gonna bring your knee out to the side like you're going on a fire hydrant here, and then take your leg back to starting position. So knee points straight back behind you, and then knee points out to the right. Points back, points to the right. Keep going. For 3, 2, and 1. Great. Okay, go ahead and put your knee down. Come up, take a break from your hands. And of course, if your wrists are starting to bother you, you can come onto your fists. That's fine. Get the ball wedged on the left leg now, in between the calf and the hamstring. Give it a nice squeeze. And here we go. Take a breath in to prepare. As you exhale, lift your left knee up away from the ground. Inhale to bring it back down. Say hello, left hamstring. Hello, left glute. Now, lift your leg up. So your knee's pointing back behind you. And now take your knee into that fire hydrant position. So the knee's moving towards the left elbow. And then come back to knee pointing straight back. And fire hydrant. And go back and forth. As you're here, make sure that your hips and your torso aren't really rocked over to the right. Try to hug your spine and your torso into center. For 3, 2, and 1. Great. Okay, go ahead and put that knee down. Take the ball out from behind you and come to sit on your tush with your feet out in front of you. And here you're going to hold the ball in between your elbows, okay? So take a moment to find your neutral pelvis. So you don't want to be too far tucked back and you don't want to be too far rocked forward. Right in the middle, you can feel your sit bones, hopefully. And then let your rib cage mellow in. So we're not lifting up and back bending. We're letting the rib cage stay in to keep our core in a more neutral position. And you're gonna hug the elbows into the ball. So here we're gonna swivel twist from side to side. Okay. So the ball, the shoulders, the arms, and the torso are all moving in unison. Another variation that you can play around with here is changing the height or the angle of your torso. So it's going to feel a lot different to sit more upright than it would to lean back. So you can play around there. One is not better than the other. We should be able to move our bodies in all kinds of different ways in various positions. So maybe you ride the elevator up and down. Notice if your body likes to go in one direction more than the other. For 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and sit back upright. Put your ball down. Now, we're gonna lie down on our stomachs. Bring the ball with you. Okay, so start with the ball out in front of you. You're gonna have your chest and head a little bit away from the ground. This is where you want to imagine that you're holding that grapefruit in between your chin and your chest to keep your neck in a really nice long position. So you're going to take a breath in, exhale, lift your hands up, and then from here, you're going to pass the ball back behind you. And as you take the ball into the other hand and bring the ball forward in front of you again, you're going to try to just make this as big of a movement through your arms and shoulders as you can. So we're not doing a lot of elbow bending, okay? We want to keep the arms really long so that we get a lot of range of motion here in the shoulders. And I keep hitting the wall, so I'm sorry for that little smush sound. One more in this direction, and then we're gonna switch. Switch. Go in the other direction. Hopefully your arms are starting to feel a little sleepy. Feel a little worked. For 3, 2, last one, and 1. Oh, so relax, put the ball down, and then put your forehead on the ball. Take a few deep breaths here. Maybe you can kind of rock a little bit from side to side. Find something that feels a bit nice. Usually that pressure on the forehead is really calming for the mind. So hopefully you're experiencing that. While you're here, see if you can let your neck relax. Let your jaw relax, tongue, cheeks. Take 3 more breaths. And your third breath is going to be a big sigh to finish us off. Okay, go ahead and peel your head up off that ball. And you can push yourself over to one side and sit up. I hope you had a ball in that class. Thank you so much for joining me and putting up with my really bad jokes. I'm so proud of you for moving your body. I hope that you can feel proud of your body and what it has accomplished today as well. I'll see you next time.